Dear listeners, you are listening to Link FM on 96.7 FM, and you are listening to the second part of The Choice, Al-Khayar, with Dr. Shahd, Salha and Dr. Khalid Al-Fahdawy. Of course, you can call us in the studio hotline on 0114-261-8181, or you can share your ideas or any question on WhatsApp on 079-3984-9339. Today I have a very special guest, Dr. Saad Al-Asali. Dr. Saad Al-Asali is one of the Iraqi academics who has been here for a while. Dr. Saad will talk about himself. Good evening, Dr. Saad.
Good evening, Dr. Shahd.
Would you like to introduce yourself to my audience?
First of all, I would like to thank Link FM and the Choice for having me with you this afternoon. My name is Saad Al-Asali. I hold MA, BA, MA and PhD degree in linguistics and translation. I've studied in Al-Mustansiri University in Baghdad, and I have taught in Baghdad universities as well as Jordanian universities. My interest is mainly in linguistics and programming, which is, I know programming is a little bit different from linguistics, but I tried when I was in Baghdad during my postgraduate studies to apply some applications to linguistics, and I was successful in building a prototype for what is called machine translation,
yes,
which is a computerized translation. It was from English into Arabic. I applied some translation theories and linguistics theories, actually, trying to build an accurate a program which can produce an accurate translation. There were some issues at that time with the applications in this field, so I targeted these issues and based on some theories, mainly by Holiday and Hassan, 1976, of his book, famous book, which is called Cohesion and Cohesive. So yes, that was.
It was interesting, actually. I would love to hear about this more, Dr. Saad Al-Asali. Of course, I have Dr. Khalid Al-Fahdawy. Dr. Khalid Al-Fahdawy is going to be the co-presenter, and we had the deal with him. Welcome to The Choice, Dr. Khalid.
Thank you. Welcome.
So, my listeners, we will be talking today, this show, about the experience of Dr. Saad Al-Asali, how he built up his academics experience. How he built up his academics experience, and how that experience will contribute to how he integrated his experience to build up the community, and what the lessons he has learned, what values he can share with us, what wisdom he can share with us today. And I hope you're gonna enjoy your show. Listening to us today. Just to remind you that the topic today will be about reflection. We will go slowly, bit by bit, to explain to you what we mean by reflection and how we can use reflection in our daily life. But before we start, I would like to listen with you to Adele. And I have heard from a lot of audience that they are really interested and they are enjoying listening to Adele. So I hope you're going to enjoy my choice. So, of course, you are listening to The Choice with Dr. Shahd, Salha and Dr. Khalid Al-Fahdawy. And we have Dr. Saad Al-Asali today with us, as I promised you. Remind you that we are listening to Link FM on 96.7. Dr. Saad Al-Asali, the first question to you today is, can you please summarize your professional and academic experience to the audience so they would know what is your background?
All right, okay, I will try my best. Well, as I said previously, I was graduated. I graduated from Baghdad universities, as Al-Mustansiri University, and then I taught in Iraqi universities as well as Jordanian universities. But that was one part of my life, my experience. Actually, I worked for the United Nations in Baghdad for 5 years as a translator, and then shifted into the interesting subject, which is computer. So I work in both as a translator, interpreter, and as a IT and programmer, IT assistant and programmer. During my work, whether academically or professionally, I learned a lot of lessons, and I'll try my best to talk about these experiences. One of them is to work in a humanitarian organization, and that was, you know, it was bad and good. There were some good and bad experiences. Especially with the sufferings of people. This is where I tried, you know, to apply my education, what I've learned, to the humanitarian side. What I'm trying to say is that if somebody want to, you know, as an academic person and educated, I was trying my best to teach the language and try to help people to arrive at the correct approach, academic approach.
So practically what I'm hearing here, a person with a varied experience. Dr. Saad, how did you reflect? Because I have seen a lot of academics are struggling to reflect their theoretical understanding on a practical side. And I can see that you shifted. And I am not sure how did you do that shift, which is interesting, between doing linguistic and going to programming, which is the opposite to me. You know, linguistic is very theoretical.
It's not opposite, actually. Yeah. Well, it's multidiscipline study. So if you can combine two sciences into one and try to do something which is, I wasn't a pioneer, but I was a pioneer in my country. But it was, of course, there was a lot of work before me, years and decades before I started. And I based my studies on these studies as well.
All right.
But the reason why, but it wasn't in my country, but where I came from. It was in the Arab, in other Arab countries. There were some attempts to do this kind of, you know, translation, computerized translation. It's something that will help up the linguist, I would say, even a translator, to do their job in translating. It's not an easy job. We're still up to this moment. Computer cannot, or a machine cannot imitate a person thinking. Maybe you will tell me, well, what about the Google Translator? But I don't want to.
It's a different story.
But that's a different story. Still, it's not an accurate in some senses and some meanings. It's not always accurate. It doesn't give you always an accurate translation.
Response,
But back into the reflection, if I may say, well, I will start with this quote by John Dewey. We do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience.
Okay.
So if I want to say, well, my reflection on what I've studied, so I would say that I focused on computer and as well as the linguistic side of my experience, and I tried to raise my children to help them to learn computer programming, and I was successful. My eldest son now is a programmer. He has graduated from Sheffield University. He is interested in programming, and he is doing a good job. At the same time, I helped him in to learn the language, whether to help them to be bilingual as well as bicultural.
Yeah.
Because language is not only a means of communication. It's not only it's not only to learn how to speak. It's more about the culture, to learn about the culture, to learn about the values of the people. And to be bilingual is something easy, but I would say it is easy, but to be a bicultural is not easy.
Yeah. So if I wanted to reflect, Dr. Saad, on your experience to improve the community. Of course, the main purpose of Link FM is to linking communities, as you see. So my understanding that academics have a lot to provide to communities. So from your experience, how did you reflect your experience to develop the community?
Yes. When I moved to the UK, actually I spent the first, I would say, 5 years reflecting on my family, on myself and my family, actually, trying to, to settle down. And we eventually nicely settled down. I would say we are all members, of my family are successful in their job and their, but after that, I started thinking of the community, our friends, and I found that there were some children of our friends are struggling, starting with their, understanding the culture of their parents, and this is, this where I came with the idea with the friends to set up a community group, which is called Waha Community Group. Mm-hmm. And the purpose of that is that to, it's family gathering. We did a number of parties, family gathering, and as well as some other activities, sports activities, and even drama activities. And then out of Waha Community Group, we started thinking of setting up a school.
So Al-Waha was at the beginning is a community group where you can do different activities to bring people together, yeah?
That's right, yes.
Who are these people you were bringing together, Dr. Yasser? Sorry, Dr. Saad.
Yeah. Well, they were from the community, from the, our community. Mm-hmm. Mainly Iraqi, Arab people.
Yeah. So
we're open to all communities.
Yeah, of course you are. Where do you base, Doctor? You said you have a school now, yeah?
That's right, yes.
Yeah. Can you tell us more about your school?
Back to the community, if I may say. Well, it's newly established. It was in February this year, and as well as the school. First, it's called Dar Arabic School. Mm-hmm. And we started in September. Dar means, for those who doesn't know Arabic, it means house.
Yeah, big
home.
House.
Big house. Yeah. But the reason why we called it, actually, one of our management team, we suggested the name because in the Iraqi curriculum, the word dar is the first word a child
learns. That's interesting.
So that's where we come from.
Because it reflects the home, basically.
And then, of course, it reflects the home. That's that exactly. So it reflects the home as well. We're trying to be, a warm place for all the children
from different backgrounds. I've seen, when I met you for the first time, I've seen that amazing activities you did in the Sheffield University, yeah. And I've seen how you were integrating children from different backgrounds, how you presented your children in their costume and and you did the drama as well, yeah?
That's right, yes. It was a celebration day. It was organized by Languages Sheffield Hola. And we participated as a school in a performing acts It was like a drama for Aladdin and the magic lamp, as well as some poems. I would say songs, but they were not really songs, performed by children.
I can see from your experience, Dr. Yasser, that you, Dr. Saad, that you are always bringing from your academic experience into community to develop the community. And I would like to ask you now a question, which I hope you will be able in these few minutes, because after that, Dr. Khalid will jump in to ask his questions, basically.
Okay.
But my question to you is how you can summarize in relation to the community, how you can summarize your experience as a lessons to be learned. What have you seen in your experience during this time being in the UK? Weaknesses in our community, and we need to work on us, to develop these weaknesses together, so we can develop the community.
Well, first, the community is doing a very good job, actually. But still, the points that I want to raise are like, as I said previously, well, it's the children are a little bit, I would say, away from their parents. And I'm starting with my home, actually, my children. I've been trying my best to be, a good father, and through reflecting on my experiences academically and professionally. So what happened is that I tried, to teach them, and as well as to keep them in a good, healthy thinking. So that's again back to what I said. It's about the school. So what happened is that, as I said, there are a number of schools actually in Sheffield teaching Arabic and other languages. I'm talking about complementary schools, of course. So what happened is that I found that they focus on the language as well as the religion, but they're not focusing on. They're neglecting the heritage, the cultural values, and that's very important. You need to teach people the differences, because there are some differences, of course, and the problem is that with two cultures, if it were like European cultures, then they are very close to each other. But when you talk about Arab culture and the European culture, there is a sort of gap, which is a little bit big. So we need to first to target this
to address this issue,
so that we can so that you can attract the children, because what's going on now, the children are attracted with the social media, with their friends. So you need to fill in this gap, to teach them about the historical, I would say, development of their culture, without telling them the values, the traditions, these things. They will not be able to understand the language itself, because this language is not only and this is a reflection, by the way.
Okay.
Because language is not only sometimes you may hear a phrase or an expression or a idiomatic expression, so you didn't understand it unless you know the story behind this.
Okay. So I will go back to Dr. Khalid, because Dr. Khalid, it's very interesting what you are saying, Dr. Saad, but because we are going to advertisement in 40 seconds, I will just summarize what Dr. Saad said, because this summary Dr. Khalid will build on to discuss more with Dr. Saad the issue of his experience and how that experience helped in developing the community. As you can hear, my audience, that Dr. Saad has his own experience, as he has experience in languages and computing. He tried to reflect that experience on the community, not only to develop the school that teach language as a language, but also to think about this different kind of elements which might influence on children's learning to languages. We will come back to this issue after that. Good evening again, my audience. You are listening to The Choice with Dr. Saad Salha and Dr. Khalid Al-Fahdawy. Of course, Link FM, you are listening to it on 96.7, and our studio hotline is 0114-261-8181, and the WhatsApp 079-398-49339. And I have with me Dr. Saad Al-Asali in the studio. Of course, the point which I'm trying to, with Dr. Khalid, to emphasize in that choice is that we are trying to bring all people with different background, different experience to the show, so they can share their understanding and their experience. So we all collaborate together to help in developing community. Of course, it's the Link FM main message is that we are linking communities, and our part is that we bring academics and those people who had extensive, comprehensive experience from different subjects, from different background, different experiences, to contribute and share their ideas and share their opinions and their experience in a hope and in a way to bring more development to the community, because we care about every community in Sheffield and even outside Sheffield. Our main message is that to develop more, to bring or to promote more knowledge, more experience, and more happiness to your life, guys. So please stay with us on The Choice. And I have Dr. Khalid now. He has a few questions to Dr. Saad. So the mic is yours, Dr. Khalid.
Okay, Dr. Saad, you talked about the understanding of the culture. From experience, for me, like I'm Arabic, from Arabic culture, and my son, he living here, and he start to talk in English. So how you can, because he started to talk English and he built himself with the English culture. How do you think there is big gaps between my kid and
Yes.
me?
That's actually, yeah.
And my question, how to develop or how to make solution for this issue, to make the communication between the Arabic people and their kids where they living here.
That's a good question. Thank you, Dr. Khalid. Well, it's while you were talking, something jumped into my mind. It's about the identity. Actually, where there is a loss in the cultural identity of our children. The problem is that when I said our children, we talk about the community, our community children. So what happened is that because of the influence of the social system, and when I say social system, that includes school, family, school, friends, peers, and the other, social media. So this is the system. This is the social system. So what we try to do is that we try to promote the community by introducing some educational tools. That was one of these tools. So what we're trying to do, as I said, back to the setup of the school, it's not about the language. When we started this, we found that all these schools, I don't claim that all of them, but I will say most of them are teaching only language and neglecting the cultural part. It's important that they learn it. If their parents doesn't know to communicate, if their parents do not know how to communicate with their children, a dad doesn't know how to communicate with his child, he wouldn't be able to teach him the cultural values. So for some families, parents do not speak English. They speak only their own language, which is Arabic, their mother tongue. So what happens is that, and their children speak, their mother tongue is English. So they miss the opportunity. I'm talking about both sides, to communicate and to to transform the values. The thing is that what happened is that what we need is that, as I said previously, we need to teach and to have a bilingual and bicultural generation, and by this we will help in integrating into the community, because there are a lot of values in this community. So we need to transfer these values into the local community. And we are in Waha and in Da, we are more than happy to help families to overcome this problem. I mean, the gap between the parents and the children. And but we are like an information point where we can answer their questions, queries, and even which we are here to help them to learn the language. I'm talking about the parents who do not speak English, and we will help them to integrate into the local community through the language as well as the culture.
So when you speak about integration, Dr. Saad, it jumps to my mind immediately that lots of I've seen lots of programs and lots of organizations claiming that they are helping in integrating, but I saw them focusing in the language part more than the cultural part. Even in the mosques, I'm speaking about the community in general. The Arabic or the other communities, Pakistani, Afghani, any other communities who doesn't speak English as a first language, they all suffering from the same problem. And until now, I couldn't see an organization, for example, that's really able to help in cultural education alongside languages education. And what you are saying that Al-Waha and Ad-Dar, because you are professional and you know how to play with this game, you know what is the main points, you know the main concern. So you might be, as you suggested, as an information point for parents or any people who are interested to know how to integrate, if you like, where between the original culture and their own children culture. And that's maybe can help in the second question of Dr. Khalid. You were under the air asking Dr. Saad an important question. Would you like to repeat that question to Dr. Saad now?
Yes. For me, I have another question. It is from your experience. Every person has experience with the main case. How to develop the community from your experience?
Sorry, I didn't get it. So
you have some principles when you came here.
Yes.
And from your experience with Al-Waha, how to develop the community here?
Okay. Well, as a linguist, I would say I want to just give a brief points, some brief points. Language has different layers. On the surface, as Chomsky said, we have surface structure, and then we have deep structure. And inside the deep structure, we have a very simple structure of let's say a sentence. Okay, well, I'll give you an example. The window was broken, so this is the surface structure. While in the deep, according to Chomsky, on the deep structure, this can be turned into somebody broke the window. But when we speak, we use some elements in our language, in our conversation, and without knowing that we're not aware of these elements, it's all come within the inside but during the acquisition of the language. So what will happen is that we turn these elements, mainly the syntactic element, the semantic element, the pragmatic element, into a surface structure which is ready and can be understood by the listener. what I'm trying to say is that, again, to my point, is that, well, language is not only structure and a combination of words. It's not only, the subject, the verb, and the object. And this is the problem with the schools. Most of the schools, they focus on the structure, the vocabulary, the grammar, without taking into the consideration that you have other elements in language. As I said, among these elements, we have the semantic element and the pragmatic. And by semantic and pragmatic, I mean, well, we human have built up some semantic networks in our mind of a certain language. Say, for example, the Arabic language. So we have a sort of synonyms. So instead of using a word repeatedly, we use different words in a text, in our speech. And the same would apply to English. And this is one thing. And the other thing is that the pragmatics. We try to produce some sentences in a good stylistic way. It's so that to attract people. Because this is the thing. We have the message in our mind. I want you to know this message. So it's either to give it to you like, in a naive way, or to give it to you into a stylistic way, so that it will attract you. You will take it into. So you have then these layers, and the pragmatic is something else. Say, for example, I'll give you an example of pragmatics. So the pragmatic practice is that you and I, we know certain references. So if I say something referring to our culture, you will grasp, you will understand what I'm talking about. You will know my intention. You know my communicative intention. So we all understand. I don't have to say everything. Sometimes we use ellipses. So we don't have to mention everything. And you, especially with the jokes, or maybe you want to criticize somebody, so you don't go in deep. You don't give a full sentence. Incomplete sentences will be enough to understand the message.
Sometimes not only a sentence, sometimes a word.
Even, and this is
the
even
pressure you
sometimes
put, yes, non-verbal.
Non-verbal
Yes.
actions also.
Yes, it's body language.
Yeah, it's with the body language, or with the nodding, you will understand what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So, so these are the elements that we are trying to teach, but that's not be an easy job, because you are dealing with children. So how to put all these the reflection of your experience, your academic, your professional experiences, into one target, into one aim. That's the thing. So we are trying to fill up the gap that we were talking about, the parent-children relationship. Parents-children relationships. Exactly. Thank you, Dr. Shahd.
Dr. Saad, I think Dr. Khalid wanted a summary from you as a Dr. Saad, as a Saad as a person. What are your values, your principles you based on when you develop anything in your life, and those values help me or help you, in your development as a human, and you can share this to our audience.
Yeah, well, I hold the same values of other people. It's not that different from other people. Well, it's the same. The trying to be helpful to people, especially my community, my friends, my family. I like to find to build up an influential social system, and through the Waha community group and Dar Arabic School, and to do something good, to transfer, to reflect the values that I hold into the to the new generation. as I said, the values are like, trying to be helpful, educated, and bilingual, bicultural. I encourage first myself and people around me, surrounding me, my friends, family, extended family, to resume the education. I'm talking about the adult people, to do the postgraduate studies, because I believe doing the postgraduate studies will help, or even the higher education will help them into reflecting into their social activities. So this is the things that I always believe in.
Yeah. I think, if I ask me about Dr. Saad, and I only knew you for a few weeks ago, I would give you this description. I think you are a caring person. Do you agree?
Yeah, well, I don't claim that thing, but of course, I'm trying to be so.
Yeah, but why I'm trying, I think what we are need to think when we reflect our experience, we think why we do that, because we care.
Yes,
I think when I met you for the first time, all our discussion went through the identity and how to keep our identity and how to develop education, how to make development, how to make connection with the community. And you were talking as a person who cares. And I think every person should care. Last week, for example, Dr. Khalid, and I should bring him to the scene now. Dr. Khalid, last week you spoke about your keys, and you were being patient, having plans, being systemic, and being optimistic, not pessimistic. All this helped you because you had this mentality, helped you to build up and develop. And from your listening to Dr. Saad, what do you think he has from his words, because we are making here discourse analysis?
That's good. That's something you learned from me.
So we are analyzing,
Lovely.
reflecting on what Dr. Saad said. How do you read that, Dr. Khalid?
I found he has many words. One of them, he should be helpful with the other people. Yes, I found this is good, because every person he needs to get help from the other people. Even for me, if I help other people, sometimes I need someone to help me. Yes, it's not just for. I mean, to help me with, maybe I need to get some advices.
Yeah.
This is help.
Yeah. So exactly like what Dr. Saad said, he said they will have their al-waha. And by the way, we didn't say what al-waha means, Dr. Saad.
Yes, that's a good question. Thank you for raising this question. Well, al-waha was also selected carefully. It's trying to depict the situation of the community. So we are here, like, when it came first, it's like, moving into unknown world, as if you are walking in a desert. And we're trying to find an oasis to rest, to have some, maybe to drink water, to, the rest of the story. So that's where it come from, the name of Waha. It's oasis in Arabic.
So this is what Dr. Khalid was saying. He is trying to get advice, and you said you will be an information point for these people who are getting advice. What else, Dr. Khalid?
And else, they're reflecting the values. Yes. We said before, everyone he needs to. I think we remember when we said in Arabic, when we talk about the reflected. Yes. Some people, when they do mistakes, they doesn't say we did the mistakes and we need to correct our behavior. According to the reflecting the values, every person he needs to reflect to develop his values to reflect, because sometimes I don't think so. There has never been anyone he didn't do mistakes.
Yeah.
So when I do mistakes, I will come back to myself, and I will say I did mistakes. And this is value. And even if I do mistakes with other people, I go to him and I will say I did mistakes with you, and I need to ask you to forgive me.
Acknowledging the problem.
Yes.
Yes, that's why we learn from our mistakes, and that's something good. That is the reflection. Exactly. This is the true meaning of reflection.
Yes, and this is the big value, in my opinion.
It's interesting how Dr. Khalid brought the idea of reflection to be a value.
Yes.
And this is a new understanding, to be honest. I
Yes.
didn't understand. I ever come to my mind, and I should thank Dr. Khalid now. I haven't ever thought about reflection as a value, because it is actually. And it needs honesty.
Yes.
And it needs the courage. You need to be really brave to reflect and to say the truth, and then to not only to say the truth, to correct the truth and to apologize. That's very interesting, Dr. Khalid. I will end up with Dr. Saad Al-Asali, because we only have the hour just ran out. I don't know how.
Yeah,
But I
actually.
just very quick. Dr. Saad, it's your words.
Yes. Well, it is true. This is the reflection, the meaning of reflection. The another meaning is that to pass and personally, I would say we want to pass our experiences and views, including all the cultural values that we hold in the two environments, along to our children. And that's because I believe that a family, as well as the self-education, self-learning, are the most influential systems in one's healthy, natural life.
Interesting. Dr. Khalid, we have only 5 minutes to end. What would you like to say at the end of this show today?
Yes, I have some comments about the reflecting, and because for me I need I told you I have comments about reflecting. The reflectings, in my opinion, it means it is like a party. It is difficult to come in simple way. It needs exercise and recite the information and also the stories, and the difference between the reflecting and the surface thought. It is there's some it needs to continue and read it, and I found this property. It is very nice for in this community. I found many people they continuing in reading for every fields, and as I mentioned before, if I do some mistakes, I need to come back to reflect my mistakes, and I need to correct the mistakes.
So basically we are reaching to the last 5 minutes of today's show. The show went very quick with Dr. Saad and Dr. Khalid. I've learned a lot. Thank you, Dr. Saad, for being with us.
Thank you for having me in the choice.
Thank you, and we will have you again. We'll have you again.
I'll be happy.
Thank you very much. And thank you for Dr. Khalid for his contribution. And I've learned from him today that reflection can be a value.
Yes.
And I will take this away with me.
Definitely.
And I will reach with you, my audience, to the end. I hope that you enjoyed your listening to us today. And inshallah, next week we will see you with a new idea, new guest, and new reflection. So bye-bye for now from me, Salha, and my guest. Wish you a very productive week. Bye-bye.